Good morning. I'm Michael James for Q News. Now, today I'm joined by a very, very special guest. Since first rising to fame all those years ago on Australia's Got Talent, the last few years have seen a surge in new music and appearances, including the release of his latest single, Love Me Lonely. Now, I'm joined today by none other than the very talented Jack Vidgen. Good morning, Jack.
Morning, how are you?
I'm fantastic. All the better for speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining me. And obviously, we're going to have a chat about the new single today. But I wanted to just take a little bit of a step back before that. I know it's been a really, really long journey for you to get to where you are today. And I think a lot of your music has reflected that recently. So I wanted to talk more so about that period between AGT and before The Voice, where you've been to the US and you've recorded your album. And then what happened to Jack?
You know what? It was just a very full-on time, especially I think for a young person. It was just it was amazing. And Australia's Got Talent really did start everything and kick everything off. But it kind of felt like this roller coaster that I was on that I couldn't really get off, and unless I kind of stopped the ride completely, which is kind of what I did. So I just, after a couple of years of doing it full time, I just decided I just wanted to have a break because I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And that's why I started it all. That's why I started singing, was because I loved it so much and I enjoyed it. And a few things happened over the years that were kind of quite unfortunate, and I'll talk about them one day. But it just kind of led me to just have a break and step away for a while.
Yeah. What was one of the biggest struggles for you in that time when you took that break and stepped away?
Probably not. There wasn't the struggles. I started working through the struggles, I think, after stepping away. But the struggles, I mean, just pressure that I put on myself, pressure that I guess other people can put on me, and just as a young person and just not really knowing how to deal with it, it just was too much.
Sometimes it's all you can do when things are too much. Just step back and look after yourself.
Totally. And actually, I had the option to step back, which was nice.
Oh, that's great. And then you took a good hiatus there. Was there, I suppose, a turning point or something that triggered you to put yourself back out there and then, I suppose, relaunch yourself back on the stage on The Voice?
I think I just had to come to a place in myself where I enjoyed singing again. It's funny, after stopping singing professionally, probably when I was about 16, 17, I got really involved in church and I became a youth minister, youth leader, worship leader in church. And I was this is before I came out. And I was very involved, and that's kind of where I started singing again, was in church. And even though as a queer person and coming from religious background, there's all different things that come with that. But it was actually a really beautiful experience for me to get back into singing in a way that was personal and meaningful for me. And that was kind of my in. And then after 5 years later, 5 years on from kind of stepping back from the industry, I decided to do The Voice.
So it was amazing to see you return on The Voice, and then to go on from there, you did AGT Champions, and then of course you did Eurovision Decides. What was it like to come back so big from having done not anything public for so long?
It was full on again. It was the first time, it was full on the second time as well. But I was really enjoying it. It was weird because it was almost parallel to the first time kind of coming onto the music scene, in a way that COVID then happened after doing these all different shows and coming back into the industry. And COVID happened. I lost all my work, so it wasn't a choice this time when I stopped singing for about a year. It was like everyone, and obviously COVID affected all of our lives. But it was strange, the parallels in kind of my career with both doing Australia's Got Talent and then The Voice and doing all this a round of other shows.
It's stopping and starting all over again. But then you were lucky, in amongst all that COVID madness, you landed on I'm Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. That was, I suppose, a different...
Everyone's always like, why would you do something like that? And I was like, it's work. After a year of work, it's work.
Exactly. Someone's knocking and they're saying, would you like some money? And you go, well, yes, I do. I do like money and I like eating.
I would not do that show for free.
I don't think anybody would. Jesus. Now, part of your comeback that I've really, really loved is that you have come back with so much confidence, like confidence that you seem to exude in yourself, your body, and also in your fashion choices. Like I'm living for someone. They're so very bold and creative. Where'd that confidence come from?
God, good question. I think that was a long time when I wasn't very confident, and I still don't. I have days when I'm not that confident. But the older you get, I think the more comfortable within yourself you get. And I'm also in a fortunate position where the world that I'm in, the creative world, it's a very accepting world. And so that gives me the space to be who I want to be and be free in that. So I'm very fortunate in that way. But yeah, I know it's taken a while, but I feel like I'm in a place where I'm now quite secure within myself. And I guess that's where it might come from.
Yeah, I think that definitely resonates with people. We see that, and it's so empowering and it's wonderful. And it's definitely coming through in your music as well. You've got some really beautiful messaging in your music. Like I'm King, I'm Queen was just a amazing song. And then you have had Pray, and now you've got Love Me Lonely, which is a very different style. Like it's very much away from what we knew from Jack with the power ballads and all of that.
Yeah.
Very, very different thing. Is this a permanent direction away, or it's just something you found that's working at the moment?
It's something that I'm really enjoying. I think a big part of my life, probably over the last 4 or 5 years, has been like the queer club scene in Sydney. And that's where I've kind of, like I said before, how I grew up in church, and this has kind of been my new church over the last few years. And a lot of that music it's dance music. It's kind of, it's house. It's that kind of, that 4 a.m. arc music. And I wanted to bring, because that's where I spent like so much of my life since coming out, and I've had so many beautiful experiences in that, even though there's been a lot of challenging experiences I've come with that world as well. I wanted to bring that, as well as kind of some meaningful heaviness in the lyrics, and bring those kind of two worlds together, which is kind of what I'm trying to do in my music now.
Yeah, and it's definitely
to that time in my life.
Yeah, it's definitely reflected in there. I mean, it is very powerful. And I was reading some of what you said about Lovely Lonely, which is your new single, about how when you wrote that and then you listened back to it, you realized that, this was you having to, I suppose, face up to some of your demons and your struggles so much. What was it? What was that turning point that you saw and you heard in those lyrics that you went, I've got to make a change here?
Well, I mean, I wrote Love Me Lonely about a week or 2 weeks before I decided to go sober. And yeah, there's just some lyrics in the song that foreshadowed some things that happened the weekend after the weekend I got the demo back. And yeah, it was just a bit of a wake-up call that the stuff that I was worried was going to happen was happening, to do with substance abuse. And it was just a huge wake-up call, kind of realizing that I'd kind of spoken it into existence, what I didn't want to happen. And I didn't want to find out what the next step from that was. And that was kind of my wake-up call. And that was when I decided to go sober.
That's amazingly powerful reflection there. How long have you been sober for now?
2.5 months.
Fantastic. How's that?
Early stages still, but life feels really good, and life has been better the last 2.5 months than it has the last 5 years. So
that's amazing. That it's something you kept very low key, I suppose, from your public image. It's beautiful to see.
Like I said, I did an interview on the morning show the other day, and I was like, I never know what to keep private, what to talk about. I'm terrible at because I don't want to. I want to share enough that's going to help people. So I guess I never really know how much to share, and how much to not share. But if I can share some of my story and it's going to help someone, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a delicate balance. You don't want to be the boy who shared everything. You pick and choose. Yeah, when you pick and choose, I suppose that holds more power and more weight. So, thank you for sharing that. I think that particularly in our community, there's such a focus on alcohol and on substances. So to have voices within.
That's where I was like, this is a nice platform to talk about it, because it's as much as that world is so fun, and I've got such great memories and great times. It almost killed me, in terms of partying and substances and that kind of stuff, and it's hard in our community because it can get hectic. It can get hectic. So yeah, I think it's important to talk about it, and not in a condemning way and saying that it's bad, because I've had some great times and some fabulous experiences, but I've known that it's time to say goodbye to that now.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for that. The other, I suppose, element that ring true in both Pray and in Love Me Lonely is that idea of these people telling you what to do and this judgment that's placed on you. You wrote in the lyrics to this one, you said, 40 million people who don't know me. Have you had a lot of, I suppose, negative judgment? There always seems to be so much positivity, but you obviously have got a lot of people that are behind the scenes saying things that are not right.
Well, the 40 million people that don't know me, I kind of just picked that number from anywhere. I kind of looked at like how many views people that might have come across me on YouTube or whatever. And they didn't, it was kind of in reflection that they didn't really know what was happening for me at that time. And people still don't. Like one day I'll go into it, which is just how kind of hectic and bad it got. But that's kind of where that originated from. It's because people, even though they saw me as well, like, oh, and I'm a celebrity and everything like that, I wasn't sober. I was on the show, obviously, but beforehand and after that, I wasn't. So it's like, and you wouldn't have been able to tell as well, like on the show. So people really didn't know what was going on. So yeah, that's kind of where that came from.
Well, a beautiful telling of your truth. It's amazing to see and listen to as well. And that is the new single, It Is Love Me Lonely, which people can get out on all of the streaming platforms and everything. Now, that's an independent release, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm an independent artist. So it's nice having creative freedom and control. People always say, they're like, so why did you show me shows? And I'm like, well, I have to fund me being an artist. I am my own label.
Perfect way to be though, because you get to be exactly who you want to be. Yeah. Right? Now speaking of this, Now speaking of that and shows, you're coming to Queensland, which is where we are up here at Q News. You're coming to the Out and Proud Festival on the 19th of June. You excited?
I'm so excited. So excited. We had we've like hit the ground running with rehearsals, and we've probably got like 5 full days of rehearsals between now and then, which is like a couple of weeks away. It's all really exciting. I did my single launch at Wharfdorf on Saturday night. And so it was good to run through some of the songs and go through the choreo on a stage already. And it's just it's going to be adding to that because I'm doing just over an hour set. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, it's amazing. And on top of that show, which was the Out and Proud Festival, which is a Saturday, the 19th of June, you also have your own show that you have been touring around. Is that still going, or have we done the run already?
So I've got one in Adelaide coming up. And yes.
It's coming up in Adelaide. We've got viewers and listeners all around the country.
I think there's more. There's going to be more dates announced, but I know that Adelaide's happening.
Excellent. Well, people can jump online and they can go to all of your socials and they can get all of the details. And while they're here at the Q News channel as well, they can subscribe to our Q News YouTube channel to get more updates from us. Jack, it has been an absolute pleasure having you today. Thank you very, very much. I look forward to chatting with you again. We will see you in Queensland in June. I'm Michael James for Q News. Thank you very much. I'll catch you again soon.